What's up? Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I am Morrow, your storyteller for today, and with me I have some more RPG horror stories. Aside from RPG horror stories, there's beautiful glory stories, which I'm still taking submissions for. I received a lot of glory stories, by the way. Thank you so much for your submissions, y'all. I'm looking forward to still more. If you have any, if you have a friend, a buddy from a D&D server or any TTRPG server or whatever that wants to share their own RPG horror story, feel free to recommend them about this video and have them submit a story down below to the email in description, because I do want to have a nice little spa day when we can enjoy some glory stories instead of RPG horror story cringe for once. Let's get in some RPG horror stories for today. By the way, glory story cringe, I still accept that. That's perfectly fine. That's a-okay in my books. Anyway, onto the story. Player uses D&D for Journey to the West Incest Power Fest. Dude, I swear, these titles are the most hilarious thing, because it's worded in such a way where I know it's gonna be bad, but it's just so funny. West Incest Power Fantasy. What does that even mean? So I, male 15, was playing in the group, and this girl, female 16, named Leo, joined close to the end of the campaign. She didn't have anywhere to go and wasn't one you would call mentally well. Leo wanted to bring in two characters from the legend Journey to the West. Everyone in the group wasn't familiar with the story, so we allowed it. Leo also said that the two characters were in a gay relationship, and I don't remember which characters they were now, as this happened a year ago. So the campaign went on like normal, though occasionally we would catch Leo cheating, like fudging dice rolls, and she said the characters were that powerful from the story they come from, and it would make sense they would roll that high. Do not allow players to cheat on such a stupid reason. No. Just because you say they're powerful, that's not okay. Everybody rolls the fair amount of dice that they're supposed to roll without cheating or fudging or anything, regardless if they're supposed to be powerful. Otherwise, the argument could be, Mary's so powerful, magnanimous. He just insta-crits with his Eldritch Blast without needing to roll immediate crit DM. Just because I said so. Do not give people a pass like that. Everybody gotta play by the same rules. The rules are there for a reason. If you want to play a rules light or no rules game at all, play that. Then don't force everybody to play by your rules that you're trying to set up and enforce on anybody, because this is unfair. It's just straight up unfair. It's gonna cause problems later down the line. Against a lot of our judgment, the DM allowed Leah to keep playing with us, as Leo wasn't the most mentally healthiest person, and the DM was worried Leo might be sad. Skip forward to about the end of the campaign, and after we defeat the final boss, Leo's characters propose. Wait, hold on a second. Also, I just realized something. Is Leo playing as two characters? Is Leo allowed to play as two separate characters? So the DM makes a quick wedding for them. During said wedding, someone who is watching our game said, "Aren't those two brothers?" Huh? Everything stopped. We all looked at Leo, who just stared with that "oh crap" face. We didn't have to tell her to get out. She quickly grabbed her things and ran out. That was the end, but not all she did. One time I was hosting a one-shot because the DM was sick, and Leah joined the game. It was a level 3 game and allowed her to use her two characters. Again, why is she allowed to use two characters? Is that something part of the rules for your table or something? Also, can we please cover the whole incest thing again? Huh? I began to notice her rolls were oddly high, but I didn't think too much of it until she said her proficiency bonus was like 4. Turns out she had brought level 14 characters into a level 3 one-shot. What made it worse was that I was unexperienced, as that was my first time ever DMing. And also she fudged multiple rolls during that one-shot. I mean, if you have to fudge rolls for level 14s in a level 3 game, then you're doing something extremely wrong. But can we please get back to the incest, huh? Luckily, I had the right mind to kick her out and then and there. And a year later, when I hosted my own session, she begged to be in my campaign, using two characters, Lucifer and Charlie from Has Been Hotel. I knew what that would have gone if I didn't tell her she was banned from my games. I feel like Leo may be fixated on the incest kink. I think they might have that. And considering that Lucifer was Charlie's dad, yeah, best not to have Leo in the game. Leo is a red flag. Crimson. Bright crimson. Bright incest crimson. Is that a thing? It is now. Oh god. Okay. Well, incest aside, let's cleanse the palate with the next story for today. Favorite campaign adds a new player character with overpowered homebrew class. Am I overreacting? Background: I started playing D&D in this campaign over a year ago. For the whole group, it was all of our first campaigns, and our characters are not nearly as optimized as most. The world is a homebrew world, and we have gotten a couple of small homebrew abilities that have given our characters more power, but nothing that I think would fit into the other games I play in balance-wise. As an example, I'm a druid, and I gained the ability to transform into a fire snake, CR1 elemental, which isn't really a beast due to taking a stone out of a huge boss. We don't have much in terms of magic items. My character has a +1 shield and an immovable rod. So yes, homebrew stuff, but we're not going crazy with it, and it's always felt balanced before, and everything outside of rules as written was something we gained through the adventure, nothing we started with. There's really nothing wrong with trying to change some of the rules, especially like if you're not going with the rules as written. As you know, there's nothing wrong at all with having a little bit of tiny caveats be adjusted for depending on your character. Let's say you're playing like a circle of the wildfire, and maybe some of your shapes are influenced by the wildfire, and your DM is okay with it. If your DM is okay with it, and you're okay with it, and the rest of your table is okay with it, and everybody is cool with what's going on, then it's fine. Do whatever you want. A little bit of extra homebrew, a little bit of little adjustments here and there. There's ain't nothing wrong about that. I do it myself, everybody does it at the table, because sometimes you just want to have a little bit of that extra stuff going on for your characters. Reward them with extra things or make them feel extra special. Nothing wrong with that. We only play this campaign twice a month, and I always hugely look forward to it. It's specifically designed to be inclusive for neurodivergent and queer folks, and everyone in the campaign is both. It's a really safe space for me. I absolutely love this DM. I began to play in many other campaigns with many other DMs since I started in this one, and this DM style has always been my favorite. He is generally a rules as written style, but there's a room for rule of cool as well. He designs really challenging puzzles and combats that are super creative and exciting. Players have come and gone over the last year, and have all fit in well. We've never had any problems before, so it's been a great collection of humans and a balanced group of PCs. I'm starting in another of his campaigns soon. Just had a session 0 this week. Really, it was a session 0.3. That campaign is about as far along as ours is. They just finished with a BBG, and we'll start a new trajectory. I spent the last 3 weeks working on my new character for that campaign. I put in so many hours on it, and worked really hard to fill gaps in the party, be as useful as possible. Biggest part of it was making sure I understand the spell's rules as written, so I picked the right spell and play within the rules. It's a new class for me. Ask the DM loads of questions to make sure we'll be on the same page about the rules when I start in that campaign. You know, I gotta say, reading this, I appreciate this player. Like, there's nothing better from the DM's perspective than when a player is so into the world and really wants to just ham it up and try to learn everything as best they can, and then ask all the questions and put in all the work and research stuff and try to make sure that everything they're building matches the world and fits the world's vibes and everything, because it shows the player cares. There's nothing better for the DM than having a player that cares about having a character that belongs in your world. But there's a second paragraph of the story where I think the RPG horror story really hits it, so let's get to that. Main event. This morning we had a new player join my original campaign. The PCs are level 6 in this campaign. They're playing a homebrew class that seems wildly overpowered. It is essentially a chronergy wizard, but it's a warlock, though it uses intelligence to cast and has wizard spells. And some spells I know are homebrew. I could see their character sheet. And of course, these special spells deal force damage because of course they do. Found what I think is a source of this build on Reddit. It's on the UA and the homebrew page. You know what? Let's go ahead and actually cover that. I want to see what it's all about. I'm actually going to place myself like right here so I can talk about it as we continue through. I'm going to see if I can place it about here, and there we go. And I'll just kind of move myself around. We got an expanded spell list of Augury, Featherfall for first, second, Blur, Gentle Repose, third, Haste and Slow, fourth, Confusion, Divination, fifth, Commune and Legend Lore. Doesn't seem to be too bad. Haste is pretty interesting as well. Slow, rather interesting way. Seems more of a crowd control warlock than anything else, but let's continue. Time Alter. Starting first level, you learn how to manipulate moments in time. Whenever you fail an ability check or saving throw or miss with an attack roll, you can choose to briefly rewind time and make another attempt. You can re-roll the dice, but must use the new result. Using this feature causes the flow of time around you to become temporarily more volatile. If you use this feature more than once without completing a short rest, you must roll a d4. On a 1, you fail the use of a feature and must roll on a chrono mishap table. Every time you roll on d4, d4 and do not trigger a mishap. The die outcome, the result is a mishap increased by 1. Whenever you finish a short rest, you can use this feature again once without needing to roll mishap die. Outcome result and mishap reset to 1. Okay, that's not bad, especially when you consider about the chrono mishap table. Seems like a lot of bad things can happen all in all if you do end up messing up at some point, which makes it nice and balanced. You don't have to worry about having to make it overpowered. This feature is actually pretty cool because every single time I roll d1 on a 1, it becomes, you know, a mishap, and then every single time afterwards it's not just a failure on 1, failure on 1 and 2, then 3, and then eventually you just straight up fail altogether if you try. Sounds kind of cool. Keeps it nice and balanced. I actually appreciate this. This is nice. Premonition. Starting at 6th level, you receive momentary glimpses into the future that allow you to react more effectively to threats. You gain a bonus to initiative rolls and dexterity saving throws equal to your charisma modifier. Depends on how you're playing. If you're maxing out charisma, that could be pretty overpowered. But if they're focusing more on intelligence and as much on charisma, that'd be fine. Actually be kind of okay. But if they're using their charisma modifier as the casting, yeah, that could be pretty busted. Imagine having a maxed out charisma at 20. You just get straight up +5 in initiative and dexterity saving throws, which depends on who you ask. It could be overpowered, could be not. I think it's okay, you know, pretty powerful, but not completely busted. Physical reversal. Starting in 10th level, you can restore your body to a more capable state by reversing the temporal flow rounded. As an action, when you have fewer than half your hit points remaining, you can regain a number of hit points equal to twice your warlock level and regain 1 expended warlock spell slot. Once you use this feature, you cannot do so again until you finish a long rest. Yeah, be able to recover a spell slot when you have so many limited spell slots and you don't have a great way to recover them outside of a short rest. It's especially if your party doesn't short rest often. Yeah, that could be a little bit of a difficulty to deal with. But I mean, if your party does short rest often, this is nice, definitely to have. The healing is pretty okay. Definitely going to scale up as you level up. But recovering a spell slot, oh my goodness, that to me specific, it could have just been that. You could have just had that without worry about health recovery and just bam, there we go, spell slot. I think it would be an extremely balanced that way. Temporal stasis. At 14th level, you can manipulate the strand of time and bend reality to your will. As an action, you can attempt to freeze a creature you can see within 60 feet of you in a state of temporal stasis. Target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC or become incapacitated. While incapacitated, the target stops exactly where it is and cannot be moved, is immune to all damage, and cannot be targeted by spells or other effects. At the start of each of its turn, the target must roll a d6. On a 6, the feature ends on the target and continues to act as it was before. Otherwise, the target remains in stasis for 1 minute, during which time you must concentrate on this feature as if you were concentrating on a spell. Touching the target immediately ends with this feature on them. However, you can interact with any object's target is holding. Instead of targeting creature, you can choose to target an object no larger than 20 feet on any side that is not being worn or carried with this feature. Once you successfully use this feature, you cannot do so again until you finish a long rest. For a 14th level ability, that's actually kind of cool. I kind of like it. I don't know if maybe I'll like it, but I think it's kind of neat, honestly. Overall, the subclass doesn't seem to be too like unbalanced. Seems like it's actually okay. The physical reversal might be kind of an issue with some tables, but you can always just adjust it if you have a little bit of a problem with it. I think overall though, this is actually not bad. I mean, obviously every warlock is going to boil down to just casting Eldritch Blast everywhere, but I mean, at the end of the day, this is actually kind of cool. Gives you more of a support warlock you can play on the battlefield with them haste and slows that you can use. And especially this little caveat about intelligence and casting score. Chronomancy is a kind of magic often associated with intelligence spellcasters like the wizard. Warlocks who control the flow of time, commanded using the force of will, manifesting the wishes through the 4th dimension. However, this style of chronomancy does not work for all characters or all interpretations of magic. As such, consider allowing your warlock to use intelligence instead of charisma for all of its casting features. This would be great to help balance out premonitions, where you get the charisma modifier added to dexterity and initiative. I like this idea, and I think it's really fitting. I mean, obviously you don't have to do it at your table, but I think this is okay. Not that bad. Anyway, now that we know what this class is all about, let's get back to the story. But even looking at this, it doesn't explain the spells I can't Google anymore, nor this one ability they have that I don't even see on their character sheet. For this ability, if the opponent doesn't make a save, they can turn the time forward on them until they die from old age. They call it a time flow. They did it right away and kill 2 opponents in one go. Seems like maybe a version of this spell, but even that doesn't accomplish what they did. The link was for Alter Time Flow, which doesn't do anything that LP originally described here. It actually does something pretty cool, giving people haste or slow in an area. That's kind of neat. Yeah, that's definitely not something that just makes somebody just drop from old age. Jesus Christ, it sounds overpowered. Edit. They're now identifying as a chronergy wizard. No explanation as to why they said they were a warlock of time other than to probably justify why one of the cantrips is a renamed Eldritch Blast they use with intelligence. No feats that explain this addition either. When they joined the Zoom, they made a big deal about telling us how they didn't build for optimization but for character reasons. And I'm like, well, yeah, what more optimization do we need than a save or suck spell of that power? If somebody tries to make a really big point about, oh, I'm not trying to build an optimized character, I'm just building for character reasons, you kind of have to start to wonder, why do they have to make it so apparent and so like vehemently known that this is what they're building the character for? I mean, if it was just obvious, then it should be that big of a deal. They didn't have to defend themselves, but they immediately jump in on defensive when it comes to like saying, oh, I will just want to make sure it's perfectly clear. I'm not making this to be an optimized character. I'm doing it for character reasons and story. Nobody asked you about this sort of thing. They just immediately jump on the defensive as if they were getting attacked in the first place. They expect people to go on the offensive at them, so they go into defensive immediately to try to deflect any sort of criticism or anything. Probably because they wanted to play something overpowered and busted, but they're just excusing it by saying, just to make sure I make it clear, I'm not playing something overpowered or optimized. I'm playing something for character reasons only and nothing more. Just to make sure they can deflect the accusations ahead of time, which is kind of a sus thing to do, I'm not gonna lie. At the end of the campaign, we pause for a week before heading into a huge combat, and they mention how they have a bunch more of those time flow spells ready. So I know it's not once a day thing or something. That time flow spell would just cause somebody to just drop dead and just instantly die. Sounds like a homebrew nonsense. I feel like you need to talk to your DM about this and try to find a way to not have that included, because now suddenly you have one from a game where you can actually enjoy yourself and everybody enjoys themselves to just a game where you have a wizard coming in saying, I have all these homebrewed spells, but I'm not doing it to be optimized or anything. I just want to do it for the story. When they can just insta kill somebody with like a simple spell, and they can pull it once multiple times. And especially if they can pull up multiple times a day and they even gloating about it. I have those spells ready and stuff like that. Okay, nobody asked if you had the spells ready or anything. Just everything screams like a red flag with this guy, you know? I feel like y'all need to talk to the DM. You need to talk to the other players and see what they think, and then talk to the DM about this and say, hey, listen, we think this guy is kind of overpowered and it's kind of ruining our fun. Can we maybe do something about it to rebalance him? Maybe make him be a regular Chronergy wizard? I know that Chronergy wizard, there we go, is like, okay, like it's just wizard with an extra like flip to it. Basically it seems pretty balanced, it seems pretty okay. Nothing I've seen from it so far has been too devastating or anything. I'm assuming this guy just stuffing his stuff with a ton of homebrew, and for whatever reason your DM is allowing it, and I don't know why. I don't know why this bothers me so much. I spent the whole session trying to focus on the adventure, but not being able to because I was mad about it. I felt betrayed by my DM for allowing this. I don't know how to tell my DM about how I feel either. I don't even know if I should. I have other campaigns where certain people act like the main characters or hoggle the magic items, and usually it doesn't bother me on this level, but I'm not as emotionally invested in these campaigns. This player also is the only one who doesn't turn on the camera like the rest of us. DM requests we do. Campaign starts early as hell in the morning, and I never want to, but I do. And so that might add to that, even if it's petty. I just don't get why this person gets specific rules in like every way. And I think I'm not even mad at them. It just really mad at the DM because I trust him and hold him to a high standard. Does this sound bonkers to everyone else? Am I totally overreacting? The other players didn't seem as bothered, but they might not have been shown it. How should I approach this? I really love this campaign and every other person in the group, but I honestly don't want to even go to the next session right now. Edit, addition. The 3 spells that have renamed and changed to force damage are Fireball, Scorching Ray, and Eldritch Blast. And yes, confirming again, they're not the aforementioned Time Warlock. They're level 6 Chronergy wizard with no warlock dip. Of course they want to go with force. Of course they want to do force damage with a fireball and Scorching Ray. Of course they do. If you didn't know, force damage is like one of the least resistances monsters in D&D, like official material, have. Unless the DM is adjusting it so they have force resistance out of nowhere just to help balance things out, no, you shouldn't allow this player to change stuff to force damage. Either way, this wizard guy is just allowed to have this weird homebrew adjustment. Why? Why is the DM allowing this? Are they like the buddy of theirs that just really wants to play or something? Or why? What's the point for your DM? I think the biggest question here is why the DM accommodating this new guy out of nowhere with all the homebrew stuff. And if it's a problem, y'all should talk to the DM about it, 100%. I don't think sitting quiet on this is going to be a good thing. Y'all need to speak to the DM and chat with them about it and figure out what to do from there. And with that, that's going to be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales tomorrow. Bye-bye.